Most people were in great shape less than 100 years ago, and every year since then, we've gained more and more weight. Back in the mid 1900s, there weren't many popular diet plans, there were very few fat loss supplements, and most people didn't go to the gym, yet people were able to maintain a healthy weight far better than we can now. And that's despite the fact that we've identified obesity as an epidemic, and we now have dietitians, trainers, and doctors all working harder than ever to find a so-called cure for obesity. Yet as we search for the cure, the glaringly obvious reason why people find it harder and harder to lose weight and maintain a healthy weight is simply because we're eating more than ever. So while we all search for a revolutionary new age breakthrough solution, the fact of the matter remains that people just a century ago were simply eating significantly less. And when I say less, I mean less calories, not food. Today people are eating less real food, yet we're taking in way more calories and we're still hungrier than ever. This is due to the fact that we have so much more calorically dense, high sugar, high fat, and processed junk foods in our food supply. When you eat these high calorie foods that don't fill you up, you tend to eat more of them, which even further drives up your calorie count, creating a vicious cycle. Now, let's be realistic. We're not going back to the 1960s. You're also not going to magically forget the taste of Hot Pockets, Sour Patch Kids, or ice cream. And stores aren't going to turn back and stop selling these processed foods. They're all here to stay. But with that said, there is one very powerful tip that can help you eat far fewer calories without restricting and fighting cravings. And this ultimately makes losing weight and burning fat much easier and much more sustainable. I'm talking about a meal planning strategy known as preloading. You see, no matter what you do, you're going to experience spikes of hunger every single day. This is simply your body telling you that it's time to eat. This isn't going to happen once in a while or only while you're dieting. Hunger is something that we have to deal with for the rest of our lives. It's not going away. And the way you deal with your hunger will drastically impact how hard or how easy it is for you to lose weight and maintain that weight loss. If you work against that feeling, you may be successful for a little while, but according to the evidence, you will more than likely not be able to restrict and willpower your way through hunger for the long run. So that's where preloading comes into play. It gives us a non-restrictive way to eat more low-calorie whole foods like we were eating in the past when more people were lean, and it helps you naturally avoid the calorically dense processed foods that are making us all fatter. So how does preloading work? Well, it's simple. You just consume certain filling whole foods or beverages before you eat whatever it is that you're craving. Surprisingly, by eating more real food, you end up taking in less calories. And there are many foods that you can use to preload your meals with, but I've narrowed down the list to 5 of the best categories: vegetables, protein, high fiber carbohydrates, soup, and water. Now I'm going to dive into each one of these in greater depth, but first, I know many of you are probably going to overlook this tip entirely and go back to counting calories or avoiding carbs because you don't realize just how powerful this tip is. So to illustrate how powerful preloading is, I want you to think of the opposite. Let's say every time you get hungry, you're going to eat whatever you're craving first, and then you're going to eat a healthy meal. So you wake up in the morning and you're craving something sweet, so the first thing you do is you eat a box of cookies, followed by your healthy meal. Then later you get hungry again at lunch, so you order a pie pizza. You eat 3 slices, and when you try to move on to your healthy salad, you don't really want to eat it because you're feeling full from satisfying your cravings with the pizza. Then for dinner, you're hungry again, and you go straight for the ice cream. You eat so much ice cream that you spoil your dinner. Imagine how many extra calories you'll be eating on a daily basis if every time you got hungry, you satisfied that hunger with your deepest, darkest cravings. Now on the flip side, if you preload every meal with, let's say, 1 or 2 cups of vegetables, for example, you'll fill your stomach up for almost no calories. And this will drastically reduce hunger way before you even start eating whatever it is that you think you're craving. And the reason why I say you think you're craving it is because most of your cravings are directly tied to your appetite. That's right, when you're hungry, that's when you start craving all that junk food. But as soon as you fully fill your stomach and you start feeling really stuffed, those same cravings can quickly become repulsive to even think about. So for that reason, vegetables are one of the best foods to preload your meals because they're very filling but not at all calorically dense. Broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, celery, cucumbers, and kale are just a couple examples of some very filling vegetables that cost very few calories. The problem is that many people don't like the taste of vegetables, and aside from getting better at cooking and seasoning them, the best way to ensure that you consistently fill your stomach with vegetables is by eating them first when you're actually feeling hungry. When you're feeling hungry, even bland foods taste much better. So even if you don't like vegetables, if you simply let yourself get hungry, you'll be surprised how easily those vegetables go down. On the other hand, if you graze on a bunch of junk food while, let's say, waiting for your veggies to heat up in the microwave, you're probably not going to eat much veggies at all. This is not only because you won't be as hungry, but also because the stimulation that broccoli is going to provide for your taste buds and your brain will never match the stimulation you'll get from the high sugar or high fat processed foods, making the broccoli far less appetizing than it would have been if you just ate it first. Now, by preloading with protein, you get a similar effect. First of all, protein is very filling and very effective at decreasing your appetite. This is because protein increases certain satiety hormones like GLP-1, CCK, and PYY. While increasing these appetite-suppressing hormones, protein will also simultaneously decrease a hunger hormone known as ghrelin. On top of that, protein requires a lot of energy to digest, so you'll burn off anywhere from 15 to 30% of the calories that the protein source will provide just by eating and digesting it. Great sources of protein to preload your meals with include salmon, eggs, tofu, chicken breast, and turkey, just to name a few. And keep in mind, preloading is not just a great strategy to use for your own meals on a daily basis, but it's also a great strategy to use if you're planning on eating out. Before going to a birthday party that you know will have cake and all kinds of other calorically dense foods, you can preload with a serving of vegetables and protein. Along with the vegetables and protein, you can also add high fiber carbs. Carbs like oatmeal, buckwheat, sweet potatoes, and even plain popcorn are not the carbs that you should be afraid of. Carbs that are high in soluble fiber have been shown in multiple studies to fill the stomach and decrease appetite and hunger. This is because soluble fiber absorbs water, making the fiber take up more space in your stomach, and it passes through your digestive system slowly, helping you feel full for longer. Water itself, even though it's a beverage, is another excellent option to preload with. Having a few glasses of water before a meal can help fill your stomach up, causing you to eat less calories. Calorie-free drinks like seltzer, tea, and coffee can also help in a similar way. But one thing that I will mention is that liquids alone will pass through your digestive system pretty fast, so even though it's proven that preloading meals with water can help you temporarily lower appetite and eat less, water won't really help you stay full for very long. Which is why you want to have water along with something like vegetables or protein. And that's exactly why soup is on the list as one of the best foods to preload with. A healthy soup that's effective for fat loss will pretty much contain three main ingredients: protein, veggies, and water. Obviously, you can add seasoning to your soup, add garlic, onion, and things like that so it tastes great, but the protein, veggies, and the water that make up the soup are exactly what you need to preload your meals with to effortlessly take in fewer calories. A couple examples of some great soups include lentil soup, chicken soup, turkey chili soup, cabbage soup, and vegetable-packed tomato soup. So the bottom line is that by preloading your meals with more of the 5 categories that I just went over, soup, water, vegetables, protein, and high fiber carbs, you'll decrease hunger and make it far easier to eat less of the fattening foods that you might crave. Obviously, the more you preload with, the less cravings you'll have when you're done. But even having just one bowl of broccoli before satisfying your cravings for something like ice cream will help you save hundreds of calories. Or after you start feeling full from the broccoli, you may decide to skip out on the ice cream entirely. I hope you guys understand just how powerful that is. Now, one last thing that I do want to mention is that this strategy of preloading your meals works very well when combined with a fasting protocol. You absolutely don't need to fast for this to be effective, but one of the biggest downfalls of fasting is hunger. By the time you can finally eat, usually you'll be feeling really hungry. If you just start eating whatever you want after breaking your fast, there's a good chance that you'll eat more calories than you burned while fasting. So preloading to kill off that hunger before at least your first meal can do wonders if you're following a fasting plan. That about wraps it up, guys. I really hope that you don't dismiss this strategy and assume that it won't have a significant impact, because if you understand how to properly preload meals and you do it consistently, I promise you, you'll be blown away by the results and how effortless it becomes to burn fat and stay lean. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, if you're looking for a done-for-you workout plan that can be done at home or in a gym and also includes a customizable meal plan that'll be based around your preferences, whether that be intermittent fasting, carb cycling, one meal a day, keto, or vegan, to name a few, then click the link below in the description to head on over to my website. Between the gyms that we have in New Jersey and the online training, we've put thousands of people through these programs, and my clients that follow the plan can expect to lose at least 20 pounds or 5% of their body fat in only 6 short weeks. To learn more, click the link below, or you can visit my website directly at gravitytransformation.com. I'll see you guys soon.